Hey everyone, welcome back to the Incredible India podcast series.
Great to be back.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Debbie. Today, we're diving deep, really deep, into the Ajanta Caves.
That's right. We've got some fascinating material here from Five Senses Tours.
And our goal, really, is to unpack the significance, the sheer wonder of this UNESCO World Heritage Site for you.
We want to give you, our listener, a real feel for why this place is still so captivating, even after all these centuries.
Exactly, Tim. If you're someone who loves getting knowledgeable, quickly but thoroughly, about these amazing historical spots, well, you're in the right place.
We're hitting the history, the art, the architecture.
And get ready for some, maybe, surprising facts, things that will hopefully bring this ancient marvel alive in your mind.
Okay, so where do we start? How about the rediscovery? It's almost like a movie plot.
It really is. So picture this. It's 1819. April 28th, to be exact.
Right.
And you've got this British Army officer, John Smith. He's out hunting tigers, of all things.
Yeah, imagine that. Just out for a hunt. And he stumbles upon an entrance, finds cave number 10. Just accidentally.
Yeah.
Centuries of hidden art.
It's incredible. Pure adventure story stuff, isn't it?
Absolutely serendipitous. And what's amazing is that sense of discovery, it hasn't really faded.
You mean with visitors today?
Exactly. The caves pull in over 500,000 visitors every single year.
Wow. 500,000.
That number alone tells you something, doesn't it? It shows the enduring appeal, the significance this place holds for people like you, even now.
And we should probably stress just how important Ajanta is globally.
Oh, definitely. It holds the title of India's first World Heritage Site.
That UNESCO designation, it really underlines its universal value. It's something for all of us to appreciate and protect.
For sure. And connecting this for you, think about the timeline. When were these made?
We're talking way back, starting in the 2nd century BC.
Let that sink in for a moment.
Yeah.
2nd century BC. These caves were being carved, painted, over such a vast stretch of ancient history.
It gives you a real sense of the depth, the deep roots of Indian culture and art.
And it wasn't just contained within India either. The influence actually spread quite far.
Right. The source material mentions Java, modern Indonesia.
During the 1st and 2nd centuries BC, Ajanta's cultural impact reached that far.
That's pretty amazing. It shows how widespread Indian art, Buddhist ideas were across Asia even back then, something you might not immediately think about.
So the big question for you is, what makes these caves so compelling? What's inside?
Well, a huge part of it has to be the art, the paintings, the sculptures, mostly showing scenes from the Jataka tales.
Right. And the Jataka tales, for you listening, these aren't just myths. They tell the stories of the Buddha's previous lives.
Before enlightenment.
Exactly. So looking at this art, you're getting insights into Buddhist philosophy, the moral lessons, the storytelling traditions of that whole era.
And there are some really famous images, particularly in Cave 1.
Oh yeah, the Bodhisattvas, Padmapani and Vajrapani.
They flank the entrance to the main Buddha shrine. What's the significance there, do you think?
Well, for me, it's that feeling of protection they give off. They're serene, but also powerful, guardians of this sacred space.
Yeah, like they're watching over it. It really conveys the reverence, the importance of the Buddha and his teachings to the people who created this.
Definitely sets the spiritual tone for what you'd find inside. Now let's shift gears a bit. Think about the structure itself, the engineering.
Okay, this is mind-blowing. These 30 caves, they weren't built, were they?
No, not built, carved, hewn directly out of the rock face.
Into the side of this U-shaped gorge right next to the Wagora River.
Can you imagine the skill, the sheer labor involved with ancient tools?
It's staggering, really. And the layout, it's not random. There are different types of caves.
Right. You've got the Chaitya Grihas, those are the prayer halls.
And then the monasteries, the viharas.
Our source, Five Senses Tours, points out there are 9 Chaitya Grihas numbers, 9, 10, 19, 26, and 29.
And all the others were monasteries.
This tells you pretty clearly the site had a dual function, a place for worship and a living community for monks.
Spiritual practice and communal living, side by side.
Okay, what about the actual painting technique?
They used tempera. Tempera on a mud plaster base.
Can you break that down a bit? What does tempera involve?
Well, basically, you're mixing pigments with a binder, often something like egg yolk.
Okay.
And then applying that paint mix onto a prepared surface. Here, it was mud plaster layered onto the rock. It dries fast, so you need to be precise.
And the sheer volume of art. The source has over 500 Jataka stories depicted.
More than 500, yeah. It's just an incredible library of narrative art preserved for centuries.
Amazing. Now, for you listening, it's important to grasp that this wasn't all done at once.
Absolutely not. There were two distinct phases of construction.
And these phases, they reflect changes in Buddhism itself, right?
It's exactly. That's key to understanding how the site evolved. Phase 1 goes back to the 2nd century BC.
And that's associated with Hinayana Buddhism.
Correct.
Yeah.
And in terms of art, what does that mean for how the Buddha is shown? Well, in Hinayana, you don't see the Buddha in human form. His presence is implied, symbolically.
Through things like pillars, stupas, those dome structures, or even footprints.
Right. And this phase lines up with the Satavahana Empire starting around 230 BC.
Then much later, around 400 AD, you get the second major phase.
And this is linked with Mahayana Buddhism.
Yes. And the big shift here, for you to notice, is how the Buddha is portrayed.
Now, you do see him in human form.
Precisely. Much more direct personal representation. This phase got a lot of support from Emperor Hiroshina of the Vakataka dynasty. He was a major patron.
In these different religious approaches, they changed the architecture, too.
Absolutely. How so?
Well, the earlier Hinayana monasteries, the viharas, were often rectangular halls.
With little cells carved around the edges for the monks. Sort of like dorm rooms.
Right, more functional maybe, focused on community life.
Whereas in the later Mahayana phase, the architecture changes. They start adding sanctuaries at the back of the halls.
Specifically to house a big statue of the Buddha.
Exactly. It reflects that shift in worship, the focus on the Buddha's image in Mahayana practice.
It's fascinating how the art and buildings tell that story of religious evolution so clearly.
It really is. So, thinking about you, our listener, maybe planning a visit, the Five Senses Tours material gives some good pointers on the guided tour experience.
Yeah, they stress the importance of cultural context, which makes sense.
A good local guide doesn't just show you things. They explain the stories, the symbolism. It deepens your understanding of the whole civilization.
Totally. And they mention private tours, too, for a more tailored visit.
Which sounds good if you want, flexibility. Go your own pace, maybe focus on specific caves. Plus, hotel pickup is usually included.
Yeah, convenient. Helps you get a thorough experience without feeling rushed or overwhelmed.
And it seems previous visitors have had good experiences. The source mentions positive reviews.
Right. Names like Baram P., Kansu 38, Timothy S., Jimmy Anderson, praising the guides and the organization.
That kind of feedback, that social proof, is really reassuring when you're planning something like this. Gives you confidence.
Definitely. So if you are thinking of booking, let's quickly run through the practical details from Five Senses Tours.
Okay, the package usually includes your private car, the guide, entrance fees.
And even an Indian vegetarian lunch, which is a nice touch.
Yeah. Pricing depends on group size. For 4 or more, it's Rs 5,000 per person.
2 or 3 people, it's Rs 6,000 each.
And if you're traveling solo, it's Rs 8,000 for the personalized tour.
And the typical day looks like an 8:00 a.m. pickup in Aurangabad.
Yep. Then the visit to Ajanta and back to your hotel around 4:00 p.m. makes for a full but manageable day trip.
Good to know. And for planners out there, they mentioned an availability calendar showing slots for April 2025 already.
Planning ahead. And it's worth noting, for your potential itinerary, they also do tours to nearby Ellora Caves.
Oh, the famous Kailashnath Temple. That's another incredible site.
And tours of Aurangabad city itself. So options for further exploration in the area.
So wrapping up our deep dive on Ajanta, it's pretty clear this is way more than just old carvings, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a living testament, really, to incredible artistry, deep faith, and just human creativity across centuries.
What gets me is thinking about those detailed stories, that artistic skill preserved inside caves for so long. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Considering Ajanta, what other hidden stories, what other incredible art might still be out there, undiscovered?
That's a powerful thought to ponder, for sure. A real sense of mystery still remaining in the world.
Definitely something for you to think about. And if this conversation has inspired you to see Ajanta for yourself,
You can easily contact Five Senses Tours to make arrangements.
how do people get in touch?
Okay, you can email them at contact@fivesensestours.com. That's 5, the numeral.
Contact at fivesensestours.com.
Got it. Or you can call or send a WhatsApp message. The number is +91 984 56 77446.
Okay, +91 98456 77446.
Okay, +91 984 56 77446. We'll make sure those details are available.
Great. It truly is an experience worth considering.